Where's the camera? I can't remember. Oh yeah, I think it's up here. Hello there, people. It's Dave and Dave's Life Over 65. I've been sharpening my Smith and Wesson Homeland Security, and I think I got it pretty sharp. You know, the paper test really doesn't tell you. There's a knack, which even with a butter knife almost you can cut paper. The important thing is, how does it cut wood? Now, I picked the worst wood in the world to whittle. This is fat wood. It's got lots of resin in it. It's hardwood, and it doesn't want a feather. Just doesn't want a feather. But it's a good way to find just how sharp your knife is. Okay, when I took this thing out of the box, boy, I'm really a neophyte when it comes to sharpening, but you can feel it. It's not as sharp as I'd like it to be, but with that diamond stone, it's something. It's a learned skill. Now, one of the things I noticed about this knife is the saw is really in the wrong place if you're doing fine work. You want to put your thumb up there to do any fine work. But where I wanted to put my thumb is here, but that's where the saw is, and you don't want to put your finger on the saw. I suppose I could cover it with something, but anyways, we'll carry on. Okay, so when I started this exercise just over an hour ago, it wouldn't cut this wood at all. It just slid across the surface of the wood. Now it's doing what a knife should do. I imagine if I managed to get it properly sharpened, it would work wonders. So I'm going to have to find somebody with a little more bushcraft knowledge than I have, who can size up this knife. And remember, this is fat wood. It's not the easiest wood to cut. And tell me how to see, this knife is considerably sharper than when I started earlier tonight. Yeah, I think this knife's going to work out just well in the bush. I would imagine with softwood, something that you want to use to make feathering, this would work wonders. Now, just this wood is tacky. I mean, it sticks to your fingers.
Yeah, so Lee, with the nuts, you made it back over here.
Where'd he come from? Anyways, what I'm doing here, in case you're wondering, is I'm making these little curly caves. Okay, so can you see? Oh yeah, you can. So you got all this nice finely chopped wood, and what that's for is when I pull out my Firestone, sorry, my Fire Steel. And cause a nice spark. It'll drop right into that and catch fire. See, the idea is to catch something on fire that falls into the stuff. And I won't do it because I don't want to start it on fire right now. So what they teach you to do is put your fire steel right into the middle of your pile, Put your striker up here and, oops, almost set my desk on fire. But you see what that does is it scrapes off a big hunk of this fire steel, which is burning white hot, and it drops into the fat wood shavings, and you got a fire. Oh, I threw it out. Too bad. Anyways, so that's what I'm up to. So, yes, last night I was using this little guy, which is a Gerber Bear Gillis. It's a pocket knife. It's folding. It's nice. It's a little sharper now. I was sharpening it on my KitchenAid sharpener, but since then I've figured out how to use the put that in there. How to use the little diamond stone that comes with the sheath. And one of the things that I didn't think was necessary, but is you need some water. Just a drop. Whoa, that's too much. Anyways. Because it does kind of work like a whetstone. Okay, so this got dull last night because when you cut this fat wood, it's very hard, and it quickly dulls the blade. And the trick with using all these stones, actually what I'm doing is very dangerous with a sharp blade and your fingers down close. This should really be mounted on a piece of wood. So what I do, get out my favorite tool. This tool, by the way, is perfect for this size knife. And like anything else with bushcraft, it just takes practice. It takes knowledge and repetitious practice. Nice thing about fat wood, if it gets wet, it still works. Alright, let's clean off the knife. Oh yeah. I don't think I could shave with it, but I hardly have any hair left on my arms anyways. There's some. The hair on my arms is so fine I can't see it. So I really don't expect you will. Yeah, it's shaving. Not well, but it's shaving. So let's go back to my stick. If you can see that. See that coloration? It's almost like plastic. It's a real hard pitch and it's sticky. I have to wash my hands really well after doing this. Also, this has a little serrations here, which I really didn't want until I tried using it and realized that's why it's there. It's there for a reason. Now, the difference between this knife and this knife is the quality of the steel. I don't think this says what it is, but I think it's a little better quality than this. And it's not as thick. Look. That's, where the hell is my ruler? I should rename this channel to Dave's Messy Desk. It's, It's 1/16 or 1/8, is it? Okay, that's half. That's quarter. Yeah, 1/16. Where this one is a 1/4 inch. This thing is heavy. I mean, I wish I had some wood I could hack. But here, this is the kind of results I get with the Bear Gerber, the Gerber Bear Gillis pocket knife, especially now that I've sharpened it. With this knife, oh, it's taking bigger hunks, but it's doing the same thing. Look at that, that's almost all resin. Hard resin. Boy, does it burn. I mean, it burns. Here, I'll show you. I need this will do nicely. Watch this. Look at that. Hear that? That's resin heating up and see that? Now, if it was in a pile of look at how white that burns. That's not wood, that's resin. We'll let it burn down here. Okay, so that is very hard to cut with any kind of a knife. And the Bear Gerber knife looks like a roach. It does, it looks like a roach. Can't see it. There's little black things floating around the air from this, like when you burn plastic. So, anyways, when I took this out of the sheath an hour or so ago, I couldn't cut it. It was just like dragging it across your, like that. In fact, it wasn't even that good. Like now it's creating really fuzzy, fine. The edge on this knife is improved 100%. Just in, I would say, no more than 10 strokes. First time I tried to sharpen it with this stone, I didn't get any results at all. So you can do fine work with this knife. But what's nice, look how it sticks to the knife, see? That's actually very hard to get off. I almost feel like I need to resharpen it after cutting this fat wood. This knife is so fat I can't clean it from the back edge like you're supposed to. Yeah, you know what? I think I held it a little too shallow when I was sharpening it, but anyways, I'm going to get one of those sharpeners for dummies, because I would certainly qualify as a dummy when it comes to bushcraft, which will get it reasonably sharp in the correct angle and all that stuff. And I'll throw it in my pack for when I'm in the field. But I think I can, in a pinch, I can actually use the diamond sharpening stone that comes with it. That's actually a lot of fatwood shavings, a lot more than I was getting when I first started doing this. And see, this little thin stuff here, that's all I could get before, when even with the Gerber. because it, even though it was pretty sharp when I last sharpened it, look at these black things floating around the air. That's from the resin that's naturally in this wood. Apparently this wood comes from the Swedish pine, and I think that's a big deal because I don't know if you're a Beatles fan, but there was a song called Norwegian Wood. I think it's about a guy that burns down his girlfriend's house with her in it. I think that's what it's about. The stuff the Beatles did in that era were pretty psychedelic. Anyways, what I do is I just put this into my bottle. There's even some fire steel there. See, that's the thing. I wish there was some way to scrape fire steel off without igniting it. Maybe there is. Maybe if I found a steel that doesn't cause it to heat up when I scrape it. But if you can get the filings from your ferro rod, it will, when you strike it, it'll set that on fire, and that really makes the fire burn. So, oh, we're going good. I don't know, can you see that? Oh yeah, you can. Okay. So, the Smith Wesson Homeland Security. It's a heavy knife. I don't like it. Like I was saying in the other video, when this is in its sheath. By the way, I'm not pleased with the sheath. Not pleased with it at all. Anyways, when it's in the sheath and you grab a knife end, this would make it just a club of whack. You want to knock somebody out. If you have to knock somebody out without killing them, I think you could do it with this. But I've heard a lot of negative things about this knife, and most of them don't apply to me. One thing they did say, it doesn't work very well for, it's a Bowie knife after all, so it's really not designed for real fine work. But boy, once you get this thing sharp, see, I'm right in a, see if you can see, oh yeah, you can real well. See that? That's almost pure resin, and that is hard as hell to cut. Switch to the finer knife. Maybe I'll just stick to this side for now. Oh, come into the resin again. I really need a workbench. I'm not going to cut this any further because look, you can see through it. It's transparent. Well, not transparent, translucent, I guess. Gotta keep track of my shavings. Oh well. Oh, there you are. You're hiding on me. So for the finer work, I would probably use this knife. By the way, this knife has a real nice feel to it. And although it does have these things, I don't know what they're called, but that gives you extra purchase on the blade so you're not slipping this way. And the little finger hole here, finger notch, keeps it from sliding the other way. But what a difference when you got a sharp knife. You know, those store-bought things you just run the knife through, they're okay, but boy, nothing beats a stone. If you know how to use it, that is. And I'm just learning, so. I may just chop this up into pieces. Oh, that's water. I better cover that before I dump it all over myself. The reason I keep water in here is because I have a soldering station for my other hobby, and I like to keep the sponge nice and wet. I think we can move this up a bit. No, maybe not. Look at this. Nice big shavings. So, and one thing this guy has that the Gerber doesn't, ooh, that blade's sticky, or maybe it's my fingers. Yeah, it's my fingers. It has a saw. I'm not sure that's what it is, but I've heard it referred to as a saw, and it will work as a saw. I imagine you whack whatever it is and you start cutting with it, maybe, I don't know. All right. Look at how straight that broke. See that? Look. That vein of sap is right in the middle. This would burn really nice. Look. Any kind of a spark will just ignite that in a second. Watch. You could use that as a torch. You don't have to relight it every so often, but... Okay, let me put this pile away. Pack that away. And I'm really happy with this knife. This Smith Wesson Homeland Security knife. Seems to take an edge a lot better than I thought it was going to. So, if you're thinking about getting the Smith Wesson Homeland Security, I would recommend it. It's not expensive. It's an inexpensive knife, but it's well made. I think it's something the Smith Wesson company can be proud of. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and maybe think about subscribing. Take care, be safe, and check back.